Hey, Central Region Assistant Manager Team. Dane Espegard here, excited to deliver a message to you all on your priorities daily and weekly to be able to win at your job this summer. So let me start by saying I recognize I'm addressing a lot of different positions. We have sales managers that are here, that we have assistant managers, lead assistants. We have people that are maybe specializing in more of the sales, some specializing in coaching, some in recruiting. I'm going to try and give you what should matter most on every day. So where this comes from, why this message is on the agenda, why this matters. As we do anything in life at a high level, there are a lot of things that are pulling at our time, pulling at our attention, right? That are demanding sometimes that, hey, this is urgent, it needs your attention right now. And not all of those things are important, right? If you were to go through, there's some time management messages that talk about this quadrant that's urgent, not urgent, important, not important. And what happens to a lot of people in time management is they get too focused on these things that appear urgent but aren't really important. And so the idea here is that I'm able to deliver to you a really foolproof system of top 3 everyday focuses for you to really win at your role. So if in the chaos of the summer, if there's only a few things that you're able to really effectively get done in a day, it's still a really big win. So let's talk briefly on what's every office. If you're in the largest office, biggest recruiting office, if you're in the largest sales office, if you're in a brand new office and you're the only assistant manager, the great thing about Vector is it's the same stuff that every office is after to win the summer, right? And that's total recruiting. So why does this matter? We're a sales organization, but the sales aspect is a product, right, of our recruiting and how vibrant that recruiting culture is. And so what I want you to understand today is that if you're too focused on sales, you're going to lose this summer. And again, that sounds a little backwards, but recruiting equals tomorrow sales. And so if we're focused on that in a healthy amount, we're going to be, in a really good situation on a week-to-week basis. Better recruiting, higher recruiting allows you to make more mistakes. More recruiting allows you the opportunity to have more people step up into a big role this summer. So this is really where it's at for every office. So let me break this down to kind of 2 areas of the business. There's recruiting, and then there's productivity. And almost everything that we do would go into one of these 2, okay? So I'm going to give you a few different things under each, and then we're going to go through and we're actually going to look at every day of the week, okay? So for recruiting, right, there's a lot of different sources that we get recruits from. There's mailers. You don't really do anything with mailers. Mailers aren't, for assistant managers. It's basically the manager kind of sets it. They pay for them, and then those things come in, but we don't necessarily need to do anything for those. So that's mailers. Web ads, same deal. Your manager pays for them, but you don't really need to do anything. Craigslist, your manager pays for that. We don't really need to do anything. On campus, with the virtual nature of where things are at right now, that hasn't been as time intensive. It's still a part of our organization, but it's more on an email basis that your manager is going to send out. So this really leaves us with a couple of things that are on your plate for recruiting, right? And so I want you to understand these. It's personal recruiting and it's social media. These are the 2 things that matter when it comes to recruiting. So here are the tasks, the things that you can do to have an impact in your office on recruiting. Number 1 is booking fire. Any and all activities that would lead to setting somebody up for an interview. That's what we call fire. Fire is like if your office has 5 fire on the day, that means 5 people were spoken to by a manager in your office and were set for an interview. Because a lot of the way that a lot of the individuals that are set for interviews within our organization are set via the text center, right, of Cutco. And so fire is somebody that was set by you or another one of the managers in your office for an interview, right? So it's kind of the ones that have the fingerprints of your staff on them. So that's fire. So number 1, the most impactful thing that you can do for recruiting is booking fire. That's going to be booking personal recruits, right? So again, names that we gathered on day 3 of training that the that your district or branch manager says, here we go, this is what we're going to call. You can reach out to them either via phone call, via text from your phone, or even office conveyor, depending on what your manager chooses to do. So that's one way that we book fire. Another way is going through and doing three-way texting. Another way is booking people from your Google form from your office, if that's what you're using for the SMRA program, right? Or for not just the SMRA program, but for snaps that go out, or Instagram posts, right? Or stories, or Facebook posts, things that are going to generate applications in the Google form. That's also, you could take those numbers, call them, text them, book those people for interviews as well. So booking fire, really big key. Number 2 is actually sending the messages on Jumpstart, right? So got number 1 is booking somebody for an interview. The second thing that you can do is Jumpstart, sending messages off your account, right? So this could be research. Hopefully the research is done, but then it's also sending the messages. Why this matters so much is that's the initial contact to hopefully get somebody to fill out the form, right? So if your office is short on resources for calling to book fire, then it's going to booking or sending messages. And again, sending those messages proactively should get you to be in a situation that you're never short on resources. The third thing on recruiting that you can do is running interviews or helping with the post process of interviews. These are the things with recruiting that I would say are really the things that are going to dominate showing up for training and helping with training. I have that under productivity. That's also a recruiting thing. But these are kind of the things that are going to have the biggest impact when it comes to overall success in your office. All right. Second category, or the second half, is productivity per rep, PPR, productivity per rep. Right? That's what that stands for, if you've always wondered. Here are the things that you can do to impact productivity per rep. So what this means is the average performance from each representative that's on your team. So first thing, go ahead and write down is PDI and PCs. I would just call this rep engagement, right? So PDI, if you're coaching a representative on your team, it's checking in with them daily, right? It's making sure that they've got their plan put together. By the way, you should also, I should have mentioned this, you should have a handout, right, that you're jotting some of this stuff, and some of this stuff is on there. But PCs and PDI, this is if you're coaching a representative, PDI is your daily contact with them. It's talking to them on a day-to-day basis, checking in to make sure that the plan that you created in the PC is being executed. So in the perfect form of coaching, you meet with each person that you coach once a week. That's in a PC, performance check, personal consultation. People call it different things, but that's your one a week, face-to-face, right? Like FaceTime or Zoom or something like that, where you're going to go over last week's results, kind of where they're at, what their status is. So this isn't a message on PCs, but there's really 3 things that get covered at every PC, right? It's making sure that they feel good. It's making sure they have a plan, so schedule, and it's making sure they have people to call. If somebody feels good, has a plan, has people to call, they're going to sell Cutco. So that's what I'm doing in every PC. So in that one-on-one, we're going to come up with the exact plan of what they should be working on for this week, right? When are you going to phone? When are you going to do your appointments? What I, as their coach, care about is when are they going to phone. So I'm taking notes on the PC. I'm writing down exactly when they're going to be making their phone calls. I put that into Web PDI, put it into my phone as reminders, and then I'm checking in with them. So my daily PDI is, hey, how are presentations going, right? Where do they maybe need some emotional coaching, some mindset shifts? And then it's really making sure that, hey, John, I got you scheduled here per our conversation before. It looks like you're supposed to be at Champs Club tomorrow. Just want to give you a friendly reminder so that you're able to win this week. I'll see you there. Right? Or, hey, got you down for the team meeting for this week. Want to make sure you're there. So a lot of the PDI is checking in and making sure on the plan that we had before, right? So PC's PDI, that's a daily process, and PC's heavy on a Tuesday. Okay, the second thing that you can do to impact productivity is you personally selling. You know, I'm assuming that you probably didn't expect to hear that in this message where we're talking about your priorities, but your personal sales make a big difference. And you know, I've heard this before stated that when assistant manager hits the newsletter, it impacts 2 others to hit the newsletter. So there's this ripple effect as an assistant that's like 2x basically, right? So you, whatever you do, you're going to create 2 times more than that through other representatives based on what you're doing. You're the example in the office. And so your sales impact things in a lot of different ways. One of the ways that your sales impact your office, is it's the example of like, look, I'm on the newsletter and I'm working in the office doing these other things. I'm not even selling full time and I'm hitting the newsletter. So you definitely, Susie, John, Alicia, whoever, you can definitely hit the newsletter because this is your main thing, right? Or hey, you're a student, you should still hit the newsletter because look at what I'm doing. Okay, so it's the whole idea of if you're actually doing it, your words carry more weight. The second reason that these sales are going to impact your performance as an assistant manager in your office is that you will be more confident. If you're getting awesome, exciting paychecks, it's really easy to coach from this place of confidence and significance to say, I know that this works. Like, hey, do this. I just did this yesterday. Here's what happened. I sold it. Let me tell you how I sold a galley set yesterday. Let me tell you how I sold a signature set on Monday, right? And it's sharing these things with people that are recent stories that makes a really big difference. Okay, so your sales, that's number 2 on the productivity list. Number 3 is your engagement with training. So you can impact productivity by your engagement with training. A sales representative only gets the 3 days of training one time ever. And that experience sets them up for their entire time working with us. Their entire time. And so if their experience is great in their 3 days of training, they're so much more likely to be with us all summer. That's the foundation of which their experience is built upon. So the quality of the training matters. But equally to that is the engagement from their coach. Some of you are going to have the role and the job of being kind of the liaison or the TA or whatever you want to call it, that you're chatting with them during training. That really matters. The engagement with training, I need to be watching my people. I need to be able to see their reactions when the trainer says something about doing 6 a day or doing 20 their first weekend, or picking out. I want to see them on day 1 when the manager talks about 100 names on the list to be in a drawing. I want to see if my people are like doing the head nod that's a confident nod, or I want to see if somebody I'm coaching is like, right, kind of gives me that like, ooh, no. So I need to know that before I go into those conversations. And then also engagement with training is after, right? Pre and post, the phone calls, the checkout calls, the hey, how was today? Did you have any questions, right? What are you excited about? Let's talk about the names list, right? And then it's providing that accountability with them. The fourth thing that you can do to impact productivity is attendance to events. Attendance to events. As an assistant manager, you need to lead by example. And so when you're at the events, so will your team members. So you're the core, like the assistant manager team in an office, you're the core within that team. So if there's 3 assistant managers, a rep should show up and see the exact same people every time, and it starts with you. And so your attendance makes a difference. And then it's also, you're going to do a better job of confirming your people for events when you know that you're attending the events as well. Right? So attendance to events can mean Champs Club in the morning. It can mean key staff. It can mean Sunday phone jams. It can mean team meetings, Saturday workshops, whatever your manager has you doing. Okay? All right, let's go through the day-to-day. Let's go through your day-to-day. So I'm going to start on Saturday. And the reason here, I want you to kind of look at your week as 2 halves. Okay? When we're talking about the most important functions that we do are recruiting, okay? And so recruiting is very much a Saturday to Monday, right? Productivity, I want you to look at productivity as a Tuesday through Friday, okay? So I'll talk about this. I'm going to go through. So on your little worksheet here, you should go and look at, okay, Saturday, and you write down these things, okay? Saturday, number 1, the number 1 most important thing is booking fire. You're going to hear this a lot, but booking fire has got to be number 1 on your Saturday to-do list. Okay, so you got to talk to your manager about this because all of your roles are different in terms of what's expected. For most of you, I'd say it's book 5 on that day. If you have a higher role, like a sales manager, might be booking 10 on Saturday. Saturdays are great because you just got the name dump on day 3, which was Friday for most offices. You just got all those resources on Friday, so now you can step in and use those on Saturday. The second priority on Saturday is Jumpstart, sending your Jumpstart messages, right? So you personally sending out those messages on your account. The third thing is first weekend PDI. First weekend, and I would just say PDI. And PDI should consist of two things on Saturday. First weekend for the reps that just launched, you're really engaged with those people, checking in after each presentation. And then the second thing that you're doing in terms of PDI is confirming your team members for Sunday night's phone jam. Making sure that, it's, hey, we had this conversation earlier in the week. You're going to be there on Sunday for the phone jam. Just want to follow up on that. So that's Saturday. Sunday, go ahead and write down Sunday. Priority number 1 is fire, 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 book fire, book fire, book fire. It should be booking 5 or it should be booking 10, right? 5 or 10. And again, if you're the sales manager of a big office, your number might be 15 on one of these days. Because again, as a sales manager, you want to lead by example to the other staff members where I'm going to book 15 so everybody else books at least 5, right? So number 1 for Sunday is fire. Number 2, the number 2 priority on this day is PSP, if your office does this. PSP is doing these little check-ins with the reps that are showing up to the phone jam. So if I'm at AM and I've got 5 people from my team that are showing up, I want to spend 5 minutes with each person. And it's just to go over, hey, here's where you're at for the week. Really, that the purpose of that is meant to encourage them to have a really big Monday, right? Because if they could be at 0 for the week, but if they go out and have a grand day on Monday, they just got themselves a really good paycheck, right? So it's being focused on that. And then the third focus for me on a Sunday is personally phoning. I need to book my schedule on Sunday so that I go into the week feeling really good. So this is my Sunday. I've got fire, PSP, paycheck. So PSP stands for paycheck, schedule, phoning. So I want to go over with them what their paycheck's at for the week right now, help them set up a little bit of a schedule, and then hop on making some calls. All right, Monday. Monday, number 1 is fire. So again, when we're in the recruiting side of the week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, number 1 priority on each day is fire. You should be booking 5 on this day or 10. Monday's great because we have advanced training. Some offices are running snap parties on Monday. Some offices are getting representatives in advanced training to post on their Google Forms. There's a lot of stuff that should drive more resources on Monday. So number 1 is fire. Number 2, you probably want to be having a big sales day on Monday. Like you personally having a big sales day on Monday. And that again is a good day for you to take people field training. It's a good day for you to kind of max out as it's the last day of the pay period. The third goal for you on a Monday is booking your PCs for Tuesday. Tuesday's PC day, so you need to book those on Monday. I'd like you to add on a little extra on Sunday, Monday. This could be like a 3A or 3B, which is send your Jumpstart messages. Jumpstart messages need to be a daily activity all week. Okay, so we've got book PCs on Monday. At the end of Monday, I want to know that my reps had a good sales week and I'm set up to meet with them at a certain time on Tuesday. I should feel really good ending my week being like, I'm getting time with all my people tomorrow. And on top of that, they just ended a great week. Tuesday, my number 1 priority is great engaged PCs. Great engaged PCs, where I'm going to cover 3 things. How are they feeling? Set up a schedule, right? Make a plan. And then make sure they have people to call. In every PC that I ever run, I need to make sure that I'm asking the question of how many people are on your list to call. So many people don't ask that question because they're nervous to get the answer, right? But hey, this is how I ask it. Hey, if I were to tell you, call every single person that you have their number right now, even people that you've called 4 times, recommendations, whatever, how many people do you have? And I want to know that number, even if it means that, like, if they're like, maybe this, I'm like, well, hey, take a look, right? Take a look and see here how many you got, okay? All right. The other stuff on Tuesday. So PCs are number 1. Number 2 thing is sending your Jumpstart messages. Pretty simple. And then number 3 are your training reminder calls. Training reminder calls. Talk to your manager about how they're doing that. right? In other words, is it one person? Are you calling, A to F? Like, how are you doing that? But that needs to happen on Tuesday, and most of you will have some sort of a hand in that with your office. All right, go ahead and write down Wednesday. Wednesday. I've got on my list training is number one. So my main focus on Wednesday is being super engaged with the trainees that are showing up to training, right? If I'm coaching some of them, I need to be present. Some of you, that might not be your job, so that's not going to be on your list for Wednesday. But I have 3 things. I have training. I have any PCs that I wasn't able to get done on Tuesday. And I have confirming my team for the weekly team meeting that's on Thursday night or Wednesday night. So those are my big Wednesday things. A fourth is sending your Jumpstart messages. So that's just a common thread of every single day. Let's go through Thursday and Friday. Thursday, number 1, training. Making sure I'm engaged with training. I don't want to be doing other things. I need to make sure that I'm watching my people on training. So that's number 1. Number 2 is ensuring 100% attendance to my weekly team meeting. And number 3 is crushing the phone personally for phone calls to book for the weekend. I need to make sure I'm leading by example at the Sunday phone jam and the Thursday phone jam. Okay? So we've got training, weekly team meeting attendance, and personal phone calls, right, for demos. All right, Friday, I've got my Jumpstart messages. I want really quality PDI calls to my team. And then I need engagement and training. So engagement and training to get a good launch. When I say weekend PDI, I'm not talking about the trainees. I'm talking about anybody who's on my team. I want to have a really good call with them to say, hey, it's Friday. Let's talk about your weekend. What's it look like? And really make sure that we've got a solid plan going into the weekend. So this gives you the Saturday, Saturday through Friday. If I were to give you at the end of the week, did you do these things? And then you pass or fail as an assistant. Here's what they are. Number 1 is, did you book your 10, 15, or 20 fire for the week? Whatever your number is. So that's number 1. Did you get that done? Number 2 is, did you hit the newsletter? Personal sales. Number 3 is, did you effectively coach your reps, PDI and PC? Were you communicating with your people on a regular basis? One of the things that I did not talk about was Champs Club. Champs Club is something that is such a great tool for you. It's what allows you to make sure that your schedule is always full because you have time to make phone calls. It allows you the time to check in with your team members. It also allows you to get your people moving. If I'm an assistant manager and I'm a coach, I'm committing to going to Champs Club every day because it gives me a hard start time for my day, which is really powerful. But the number 2 thing in this that really matters is that every single person I'm talking to that's on my team, I'm like, hey, how about you come to Champs tomorrow? Hey, how about you make some calls with me tomorrow? Hey, and I can say that any day because I'm going to Champs Club. I'm going to have more fuel to make calls if I see 2 of my reps hop on Champs Club, right? I'm going to say, oh, I'm so excited that you're here. Let's go. Let's see who can make the most calls. Right? Champs Club is such a great tool for you. And then the last thing that I want to mention to you in this message here that I really want you to hear from me specifically is that this summer is such a great opportunity for you personally, for you to try and grow yourself and get yourself to the next level. Anytime that I personally am going into a busier time, maybe a time that's going to cause maybe some personal stress or some challenges, which is a good thing because it means that you have more growth opportunity, I need to protect my mornings. And what I mean by that is I need to be really diligent about how I get up. That's not what this message is. This message is about your priorities. But if I could give you the number 1 biggest priority is be somebody who wakes up with purpose and who works on you in the morning. Work out, read, listen to podcasts, journal, do these things before Champs Club. So when you show up at 7:55, you've got energy. You're ready to go because you've already worked on you. You've given yourself the space to work through the things that are going on up here, to exercise your body, to get yourself awake so that you're just ready for such a successful day. I remember vividly my summers as an assistant manager while I was a college student, and they were phenomenal. They were great. I grew a ton, I earned a lot, and I impacted lives. And that is a massive win for the summer, right? Is that you grow a lot, you earn a lot, and you have a big impact. Take a lot of notes the rest of this event. Hopefully you got some good stuff from this. Have a great summer. We'll talk to you guys all soon. See ya.